Today's project is going to be making more of these mini doily dream catchers. I have a purple one. This is 2.5 inch, and like a aquamarine kind of. This one's a 3 inch. So I figured I'll kind of do the opposite. I'm going to do this like pastel-y light blue on a 2.5 inch, and then a pink one on a 3 inch. So that's what we're doing today. So I'm just going to start off by taking my hoop, and I do a single knot with my suede, and then I'm just going to add a little drop of glue, and I put it on the side. Then I'm going to start wrapping the suede, and then just start wrapping. Now that the hoop is covered, I'm going to measure out my tassels before I do the web. So I usually just do 1, 2, so I double the length of the hoop, and then I'll fold it in half. I give myself like a tiny bit extra, so if I measure it over again, 1, 2, I have about this much extra, because you're going to make a lark's head knot when you wrap it around, and so that loses a little bit of the length. And for this smaller design, I did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So now that I have my 5 suede tassels, I just take one of those and use it to measure the other tassels that I'm going to have, which are this like textured yarn. It's like a cream ivory color. And then I also have this scrubby yarn, which the brand is Scrubby Yarn, and the color is, I believe, loofah or linen. So this is a 2.5 inch hoop, so I like to use colored thread that's similar to the suede that I'm going to be using. This is the number, in case you're curious. I use DMC thread. I think there might be other like store brands, I'm not sure, but this is the one that I use. Like I said, this is a 2.5 inch hoop, and I'll just be showing you how I'm going to attach the doily. To measure out how much embroidery thread that I need, I usually do a full body length depending on how big the hoop is. Since this is a small hoop, I'm only going to be doing half a body length, so the thread should be about 2.5 feet. And now I'm just using a dull needle. I usually use it for plastic canvas, since I'm just needing something to thread it through the small areas of the doily. I don't need anything sharp, so this is the best bet. When I'm done tying it, I usually do a little double knot, just because the head of the needle here is so big, I don't want the thread to fall through as I'm sewing. I usually put the knot on the bottom of the hoop, and to decide which one's going to be up in front, I kind of just look and see which one's prettier. And then, so that'll be the front of my hoop. And to tie it on, I'm going to take the end that's not the needle and tie it almost directly above, a little bit to the left. I off-center mine just a little bit. And you're just going to tie it on here, double knot. And when I'm finished tying the double knot, I just add a little bit of glue. And then I go over and through so that it's on top and adds a little extra support. If you saw my video about adding a doily, then you'll hear me go on about how that little extra loop gives you just a little bit more support. Now all these little doilies, I don't think I've shown you actually. Let me grab the big piece. So this is the big piece that I'm getting all these mini doilies from. Just wanted to show you that. So they're all basically the same, so there's no like right or wrong way to put this on. I usually just give it a once over to see if there are any sort of ends poking out that I would want to hide in the back of it, but I don't really see that, so it doesn't matter which way I put it up. So again, if you watch the adding a doily video, I try to do the higher points, and I usually do every other. So for this one, I'll probably start like here, and then go here, and then here, and then here. So it'll be hopefully even all around. There is a little like fold in here, but as I start attaching it, it should spread out. The 2.5, it's a little snug in the 2.5 if you saw the other, if you noticed on the other one, but it still fits really nicely. So I'm excited. Let's get started. Okay, so if you saw in the hyperlapse, I continued to pull the thread here because I was running out of thread. That's all I have left. So I only have 2 more loops that I really have to go through. So instead of adding thread, which I was thinking of showing you, I'll have to do that a different time. I'm actually just going to use, this is like a very thin beading needle, and it doesn't come bent, it comes straight. But the only reason it's bent is because I use it for these situations. This is what it's supposed to look like when you buy them. And it's curved because I tend to use it for really small areas like necklaces and stuff if I'm running out of thread, and the big needle obviously doesn't bend that way. Or situations like this where it's running low and I just don't want to have to waste thread. So that was the original tie we made. I just cut that off so I could see better. I think first I'm just going to try and tighten it one more time just to get some extra slack on the thread. And if you see, I'm just using my little sewing scissors to pull the thread up like that, to tighten it a little, and I'm going to try and keep the doily ends in the front there. The biggest thing, for me anyway, the way that I like my aesthetic, sorry, I'm like moving it all over, is consistency. So that's why I, it's either put it all up front or put it all in the back. I think it looks cool up front because then, it doesn't have to look perfect. It looks a little more organic because of the little scallops that are showing. So doing this will give me just that tiny bit of thread that I need to finish this. So 2.5 feet of embroidery thread seems to be a good amount for this. Really should focus on the camera while I'm doing this because I keep focusing on just the Dreamcatcher, and so that's why I keep going off center. Sorry about that. I probably should hyperlapse this, but I know it's kind of 50-50 when I ask you guys if you like the hyperlapse or the real time, and I haven't been doing much real time, so that's why I put the video out the other day, and then this one's going to go up. There you go. See, and you can just see the difference in the doily now that it's like basically tightened. Lighting's not the best today. It's been a weird day. It was like torrential downpouring this morning, and now it's like fine, but still cloudy and extremely humid. So summer's coming, yay. Okay, so that's that. So now I'm just gonna do the last 2. you are. So to end it, for me, it's really a case by case to see like how it looks on the finished part. So I'm just going through the original one that I started with, and then I'm going to loop it back to that, but I don't know, I don't think I really like that. So instead of going through the doily, I'll just go back out. So now instead of going through the doily, I'm just gonna go through here in between the doily and the hoop, and that way it'll cover the original string that we tied it to. Let's see. The thing I love about these needles is that it has a little like twist in there, so you could just kind of click the string in and you don't really have to tie it because it stays, unlike the other one that I had to tie. So now that I came through the front, I'm going to put the string towards the back, turn the hoop around, and I'm just going to go through. So I pulled it through here, where we originally tied it. And before I pull it all the way through, see how this has like a little loop almost? Now it's going to go through that loop. And then I'm going to pull. And that gives it a little bit of a knot. But now I want to make sure that it's really not going to unravel. So I'm going to go through one more time. So now that's the final little knot. I'm going to trim it, add a little bit of glue, and that's it for the hoop part. So now that the doily is sewn to the hoop, we're going to add the tassels. It is a little more difficult to add the tassels on the 2.5 inch because the doily is so close to the hoop here. There are like, you know, small areas there, but you know, we'll see how it goes. So the pattern for this is I always start from the middle. So the hanging loop's going to be up there. So then I go straight down and there's the suede cord in the middle. So I'm just going to be following this pattern that I already have. So I mentioned a lark's head knot earlier. This is the bottom of our hoop. You're going to take your cord and you're just going to fold it in half. So end to end, you're going to have this little hoop. You put the hoop over. You want to go in from the front that way, not from the back, but from the front. And you're just going to push it through. Now you have this little loop here. You're going to take your two ends and put them through, and then you just pull. So that's a lark's head knot. And then you're going to continue to do that for each of your cords. Okay, I was going to do a hyperlapse of me adding the tassels, but honestly, I forgot how challenging it is because the 2.5 inch is right up on the hoop to get it in, and I feel like the hyperlapse would have just ended up being like 5 minutes of me struggling to get the tassels through. So some of the time I did use my handy dandy scissors and just kind of push through the string, but I have one left. I wanted to do this one on camera because for yarn, not the suede, because the suede, once you like pull it nice and tight, sometimes I add a little bit of glue to the back, it's nice and solid and stays on great. If I were to stand there and glue all of the yarn ones for all of my Dreamcatchers, it would be a lot of time. So instead of that, I'm going to take my hoop, put it through to the back. This is where my handy dandy scissors come in to play. And then now that I have my little hoop, I put the ends through. And instead of pulling, I'm going to go back around the front of the hoop and put them through again. So it's almost like a double knot, except I only have to do it once. And then I just pull, push the knot up. There you go, and done. So that's basically it for this one. Now I just have to trim it. If you look at this one, it's kind of at an angle. It's not set properly, but trust me, it's on an angle. And then, so I just have to trim the angle here and then add my little hanging loop here, like that. And then that's it. This one's done. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you'd like to see more art videos. And don't forget to create today.